It's Tuesday and it's time for Falcon Focus. Welcome to Falcon Focus, episode number 19 here in season number 5. We're presented by Orthopedic Hospital of Wisconsin, a trio of guests on this week's edition. Our first segment, we talk men's tennis. Segment number 2, women's tennis. And our third and final segment, we feature men's lacrosse as they get ready for the NAC tournament as well, with a semifinal here on Wednesday against Illinois Tech. Up first, being joined by Isaac Bruins. He is a senior on the men's tennis team and about to be named the NAC Player of the Week. That's going to come out in about an hour or so from now. But between the fall and the spring, and I'm sure that's breaking news. I don't know if that is breaking news for you.
I did not know that. Thank you.
Congratulations. The Falcons have compiled a record of 10 victories and 8 defeats, 5-2 in NAC play, good for third place. How do you feel like the season's gone so far this season?
Oh, yeah. I feel like this season has definitely been a success for us. It's been a big improvement from last year. A lot of guys stepping up and doing really good things for the team.
And you look last week, the Falcons beat Lakeland 9-0, beat Lawrence 7-2, lost a very competitive matchup against UW-Stevens Point 5-4. You look at those matchups. What were the stories of those matchups?
Yeah, so a couple of those matches we were down a guy, so there's guys stepping up definitely for sure was a part of it. A lot of guys playing really hard out there too, especially at the top of our lineup. Those guys have been solid all year.
You know, coming into the campaign, we look at the roster, only a couple of seniors or one of those seniors on the Falcon roster. It's a pretty young team, isn't it, overall?
Yeah, so we only have 3 upperclassmen this year, so definitely underclassmen that have been stepping up. I mean, we got 3 freshmen who had been playing in the lineup throughout the season. We had a sophomore too, so yeah, a lot of different underclassmen contributing this year.
Overall, 4 freshmen and a sophomore on this men's tennis roster. Coming into the school year, obviously you hope to win, but maybe what was the vibe or the mindset going in, knowing that you guys had such a young lineup?
Yeah, so, I mean, last year we knew we had more guys this year and guys who were going to really help us compete this year. So we just wanted to improve from last year. Last year it left a bad taste in our mouth. So we're really trying to have a better year than last year and make some noise in the NAC.
And you look at practice with some of that young talent, how competitive, how fun has practice been?
Practice has been fun. I mean, some new faces definitely help with that. Our young guys Hanan's an example of this. He was really trying to fight every day and get better, and he's a really good player. So playing with him has been a lot of fun.
Let's talk about him for a second. He's at number 2 singles from Brazil, Hanan. How big of an addition has he been to this lineup?
He's been fantastic. I mean, I've gotten to play doubles with him. It's been a lot of fun. Really good player. He's got a really good forehand, really good serve, and he's a really confident player, which really feeds off into the rest of the guys.
And right now in singles, 11-7, he's won 5 consecutive. Speaking of 5 consecutive wins, you get 5 straight wins from number 1 singles and Landon Sather. What have you seen from him the last couple of years? He's played at number 1 singles. Obviously, you're playing at the same time, but in practice, what does he bring to the team?
Sure, yeah. So he's just a super consistent player. Watching him has been a lot of fun. He always these matches. Even if the guy's playing, he's better than him. He's still coming out and playing to the best of his ability.
And he currently has a record of 13 wins, 5 losses. How about for you personally? How do you feel like your senior season's gone thus far?
I think it's been pretty successful. I mean, I've had a winning record in singles, so definitely been playing better as of recently in singles. But, yeah, it's been a good year for me so far.
And at number 2 doubles, playing alongside Dylan Nadolski, how's that partnership developed? I know you had the opportunity to team with him last year as well.
Yeah, yes. It's been fun playing with Dill. We've had some tough matches, but, yeah, definitely been some good ones too.
Is there a different comfort, maybe trust level, now that you guys have played a couple of years together?
Yeah, playing with him was a lot of fun. We definitely grew a lot from the start, and every match it felt like we were just meshing more and more together.
When you look at your 4 seasons now with Falcons men's tennis, how do you feel like your game has improved in that time? Has your role changed a great deal?
Yeah, I would say both have changed a lot. I mean, coming in, I wasn't really that great of a tennis player, and then coming out now, I just feel so confident in my game, and so many different things have changed. And as far as my role with the team, definitely just started. I didn't really say a whole lot. Now I'm really speaking up for the guys, making sure everybody's in line and things like that.
You look at size, and obviously in a sport like basketball, size comes into play. You're 6'4". Does size come into play in tennis? Is that a big advantage for you?
I would say my length definitely helps. I mean, if you just think about like reaching to go get a ball or something like that, or hitting a volley or a serve even, getting up a little higher, definitely helps me a little bit.
Yeah, 6'4", tied as the tallest player on the men's tennis roster. When you reflect back on your time, and obviously, hopefully, more memories to be made coming up here this week, but what memories come to mind as you reflect on your time as a Falcon?
I would say it's been a lot of fun. I mean, I've gotten to know a lot of really cool guys and work really hard at something I really like to do. So I consider myself very lucky to play tennis at Concordia.
Mentioned that right before as we started, NAC Player of the Week about to be announced in the next hour or so, unless I was given false information, but I don't think I was. What does that mean to you?
I mean, that's a really nice thing to hear. I mean, I work really hard whenever, like, all season, all my career, so it's good to hear something like that that's working out.
And you know this is a very good conference to begin with, so that's quite the honor knowing that you got it over all the other great athletes here in the NAC. We mentioned hopefully more memories to come, and for the Falcons, they begin the NAC tournament this afternoon, 4 o'clock, quarterfinal matchup against Edgewood. You guys knocked off Edgewood 8-1 back on the 14th of April. What do you recall from that match? What do you tend to expect when you face the Eagles?
Yeah, so, I mean, they got a couple solid guys at the top of their lineup, and we can't mess around. We just got to really go right at them, take it to them, and I think that's what we're going to try and come out with and do.
And you look for the Falcons, they've been a tough out the last number of years, as semifinalists last year after back-to-back runner-up finishes both in 2021 and 2022. Finally, for you as a senior, what's next for you? What's your major? What do you hope to do with that outside of Concordia?
Yeah, sure. So I'm a finance and marketing major, so still looking for a job, but definitely trying to get a job in finance and potentially wealth management.
Well, Isaac, all the best on that. All the best today here in the quarterfinal round of play in the NAC tournament. Thanks for joining us.
Of course. Thank you.
That's Isaac Bruins kind of join us. And when we continue, our focus will shift to women's tennis. We'll be joined by Mia Andre. That and more as we continue with Falcon Focus, presented by Orthopedic Hospital of Wisconsin.
I can't imagine being any other profession than an orthopedic surgeon. We have the privilege and we have the responsibility to make people better. We've been fortunate enough to take care of professional athletes. We've also been fortunate enough to take care of our neighbors and friends who trust us to give them back their life.
One of the main reasons I came here was because this is the way healthcare is meant to be delivered. Being devoted exclusively to orthopedic care means that we can focus on delivering specialized care for every patient. And that includes not only the surgeons and the physicians, but also anesthesia, controlling pain, the nurses, and the scrub techs, and everyone in recovery is dedicated to treating conditions that are very similar for people.
Our tagline is an uncommon focus on you. We think the focus on the patient experience is what sets us apart. Before we make any process or clinical decision at the hospital, we start with the same question: is this what's best for the patient? If we can't answer yes, we move on to the next idea. Our nurses provide care for no more than 3 patients per shift, whereas other facilities, they might provide care for 7 or even 8 patients per shift. We think this personalized care is what sets us apart from others.
I think that dedication to our patients is our #1 focus. And you can technically do a good operation, but if you're not centered on the patient, they're not necessarily going to have a great outcome.
The Orthopedic Hospital of Wisconsin is physician-owned. It's physician-led. We have the responsibility to make the right decision for every patient. We also have the freedom to make the right decision for every patient.
Physicians and staff collaborate through regular meetings, weekly and monthly, and with a relatively small team, we're able to change the way we do things if we need to tweak something to make it perfect.
The facility specifically was designed so that quality could be measured and maintained and sustained. When you have 7,000 patients a year receive their surgery here, it's important that patient number 1 and patient number 7,000 receive the same care.
We place an extremely high priority on the patient experience here. We send surveys to each and every person that receives care at our hospital. Those survey results come back directly to me. I review them and share them with our senior leadership, as well as the staff and the physicians that provide the care to those patients.
There's almost 5,000 hospitals in the country that are measured. The Orthopedic Hospital of Wisconsin measures number 1, not number 2, not number 3, not runner-up, number 1 in patient satisfaction in the state of Wisconsin for the last 10 years running.
Welcome back to Falcon Focus, episode number 19 here in season number 5. We're presented by Orthopedic Hospital of Wisconsin. My name is Matt Mendel. Thanks to Isaac Bruin for joining us in segment 1 talking men's tennis. Still to come in segment number 3 as we have a trio of guests. Our focus will shift to men's lacrosse. We'll be joined by their head coach, Michael Fahey, as they get ready for a NAC tournament semifinal coming up on Wednesday at 4 o'clock at Fitting Field against Illinois Tech. But up first, we talk women's tennis. We're being joined by senior Mia Andre. Thanks for joining us. And you look back at the fall season for the women's tennis team. You guys ran the table, producing a 10-0 overall record, won the NAC regular season championship with a perfect 9-0 mark. How's the team now been playing here in the springtime?
We've been really good. We've had a lot of success, especially over spring break. I think we grew a lot as a team, so I feel like we're all pretty confident going into this week.
And, of course, now, outside of the NAC tournament, it's been all non-conference play here in the springtime. But how do you spend those 3 or 4 months in between the fall and the spring seasons? Do you take a break from tennis altogether? Do you still train? How do you spend that time?
I think a lot of us take a break since we have 2 seasons, so I feel like resting our bodies has been really nice. But we do practice a little bit off-season, especially working out, still staying active in the gym.
And then the nice thing is, once you get back into the spring season, essentially you have that spring break trip, which for the women's tennis team this season, you had 6 matches in Orlando, Florida. How great was that trip? How was the competition?
Yeah, it was awesome. The weather was amazing, and we beat every team except one, Carnegie Mellon. So it was super successful, and we all did really well.
Well, that's a very good opponent, Carnegie Mellon. They're nationally ranked. A great opportunity there for the Falcons. And you talk about the weather in the springtime. Is that kind of a tricky part of the season where obviously in the fall it starts off nice and it gradually gets colder, but you guys are done by the end of September? How about in the spring where it seems like every day it could be 80 degrees, but it's 40-mile-an-hour winds, or it could be 40 degrees and rainy?
Yeah, it's definitely been tough. I feel like we've still had a lot of indoor practices because of the rain, and it's been cold, so the weather just has not been consistent at all. So it's been tough, but we all manage.
And then we mentioned from a scheduling standpoint, essentially non-conference here throughout the springtime. And you guys play a number of who's who. Do you like playing teams you haven't seen before in non-conference, or do you like, facing teams that you maybe have a history against? Does it matter?
I think we like both. I think both is fun because, you don't know what to expect as much. But it's fun playing people we've played before because we kind of know their strengths and weaknesses, and sometimes if some of us lose, we kind of want to, get back at them and try to beat them.
Was that essentially what Orlando, Florida was, though, when you look at the non-conference? Were there a lot of teams that you had not seen before?
Yeah, they were pretty much all new, I believe, except maybe one team. But majority of them were new teams we haven't played.
Now, when you look at this roster, outside of a few additions over the last couple of years, this lineup hasn't changed for 3, 4, 5 years. How experienced is this team? How close is this team?
Yeah, this team is super close because we have, there's 2 of us are 6 years, and then we have a bunch of seniors, so we've all been on the team together for a while. We only have, I think, 2 freshmen, so it isn't a super young team.
Now, when you look at some of those newer additions, if you will, how they've been fitting in, how's the future looking for the program?
Yeah, they've been awesome, and especially Sophia, she's been a great addition to our team, and she has done super well, so we love having her.
Well, you mentioned the veterans. You're one of those members that's been with the team for 6 years, thinking you came in, 2018. Did you ever envision you'd still be playing college tennis here 6 years later?
No, I would have no idea.
So
I'd be shocked.
How much fun has it been, though? You look over the, those 6 years. How do you feel like you've improved as a player? What are your memories that stand out from this time?
Yeah, I think I've improved a lot. If it weren't for COVID, I feel like I wouldn't have had the amount of success I've had. I think my best match was last year at the NAC tournament against Edgewood. So if I did not come back, I wouldn't have had that match. So
when you look at your players, are part of your game that you feel like has really maybe improved, or you focused on over the last couple of years?
I think I focused a lot on my doubles game a lot, and I enjoy doubles a lot, so that's been a huge focus to just improve a lot.
We also talk about 6-year members. Another that comes to mind is Ricky Budowich. She's been with the team all 6 seasons going back to 2018, and you look at her success, 22-3 at singles, right now 23-1 at doubles. What's it like to have an athlete too like Ricky on this team?
Yeah, well, she's awesome, and I think a lot of us look up to her because of how hard she works, and it really pays off. So it's cool to watch her whole career and how much she's improved over the years.
Another one of the veterans at number 2 singles, Ashley Samuda. What has she meant to this team?
Yeah, she's meant a lot. She came in a spring semester and transferred. And so not a lot of us knew like what was going to happen. She ended up being like one of our top players, and she's just been a great part of the team. We all love her.
Now, we talk about Ricky being back for a 6th year, and I know coming in, there's still some question. As of last year, she thought maybe that was it. How about for you? Did you know you were coming back for a 6th year guarantee, or did it take a little, did you have to think about it a little bit?
I think I thought more about my 5th year first coming in instead of my 6th year. I think I was still in the MBA program, and I was like, I'm already coming back for a 5th year. I just want to, like, finish it out.
So has there been a different mindset at all, okay, knowing this is it for you? Has there been a different mindset how you've gone about it, just approaching each and every match?
Yeah, I think so. I feel like it hasn't, like, set in yet. I feel like this week it will, being the last matches and stuff, and just giving every last amount of energy and effort possibly can.
So when you look at going back to the fall and even here in the springtime, how do you feel like your senior season has gone?
I think it's gone pretty well. I've had a lot of good matches and some not great matches. So I'm hoping this week is going to be a good end of the season.
You've had some different partners here this season in doubles, including one match with Peyton Morgan, at least this season. Has that been difficult? Has that been challenging at all, just getting used to, partnering up with different, athletes at doubles?
Yeah, sometimes it is if you're used to playing with somebody, but a lot of us have been on the team for a while, so we've played with each other at least at some point. So it hasn't been too bad where we can't, figure it out.
And the NAC tournament gets started for the women's tennis team coming up that on Thursday, and that's going to be a 4 o'clock start right now. And big news, weather permitting, big fingers crossed. If weather permits, we're hoping to do a broadcast of the NAC tournament semifinal coming up on Thursday at 4 o'clock on the Falcon Athletic Network. Stay tuned to CWFalcons.com for more information. But again, that's if weather permits, and we hope it does. A matchup against St. Norbert College. That's been guaranteed now after they took care of business over MSOE and upset a 5-4 seeded matchup last night, winning 5-3. The other quarterfinal would see Wisconsin Lutheran beat Lakeland 5-0, so they take on Edgewood in the other semi. What do you expect? You guys played St. Norbert back on September 8th, beat them 9-0. What do you remember about way back when? What do you expect from the Green Knights?
I'm guessing they're feeling good after this win, beating MSOE, so I'm sure they're going to fight, but I think we're still really confident that we got this match.
Absolutely. Coming up again on Thursday at 4. And don't want to get ahead of it, but if the team is able to win on Thursday, potentially another championship matchup against Edgewood, who's been quite the rival for the Falcons over the years. That would be Sunday in Kohler. How about for you as a senior? What's next for you? What's your major? What's life look like after Concordia?
Yeah, so my major was in graphic design, and I'm in the MBA program for marketing. So my goal is to get some sort of creative marketing role within this next fall.
So what are you then scheduled to graduate now, or are you waiting
in
winter?
December? So
okay.
After the fall.
Okay.
I'm done.
So all this setup back here will be for you in December.
Yes.
Absolutely. Well, Mia, all the best to you and your teammates coming up on Thursday and hopefully on Sunday as well. And thanks for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
All the best to the women's tennis team, the men's tennis team as well, as they get ready to start their quest for a NAC tournament championship. And speaking of NAC tournament, when we come back, we'll focus on men's lacrosse as they get ready to begin their quest for a tournament championship with a semi against Illinois Tech on Wednesday. You're tuning in to Falcon Focus, presented by Orthopedic Hospital of Wisconsin. Welcome back to Falcon Focus, episode number 19 here in season number 5. Only one more week left here in the school year, and for Falcon Focus, presented by Orthopedic Hospital of Wisconsin. Our focus now on men's lacrosse and being joined by head coach Mike Fahey, back for his 11th season as they prepare now for the NAC tournament, a semi against the team they just saw on Saturday in Illinois Tech. That semi at Fitting Field Wednesday with the opening face-off at 4 p.m. Coach, thanks for your time. And for the Falcons, they wrapped up the regular season overall record at 12-5. They've won 6 of their last 7. Finished second in the NAC, get 7-1. How do you feel the regular season went?
Yeah, it went well. We had a difficult schedule with some teams that we put in on the schedule to challenge the guys. We went out east, played a couple teams in New York, which was a test for our guys. And had some local teams that were tough. But kind of playing some better lacrosse towards the end of the season, which is what we want.
Did you feel like, at least in the non-conference, you got what you wanted out of those non-conference matchups?
Yeah, for sure, because you can test out different things and try different things and put guys in different areas on the field. But yeah, absolutely, that's exactly what we wanted for sure.
Scoring has not been an issue for this team. The Falcons rank 4th in the nation in scoring. They have scored a program record, 301 goals with their attack men, with the midfielders. Did you anticipate the offense being this explosive? Obviously, you hope.
Yeah, we knew we had some pieces, especially at the attack. But I didn't know that we were going to have this many goals and this many assists and the things that we're doing. Coach Day does a great job with the offensive group every day and gets them into the places where they need to be to put the ball in the back of the net and have assists and play fast. And that's something that we've been emphasizing this year, and we're doing a nice job with it so far.
Averaging over 50 shots a game, keeping the pressure on. And you mentioned K.O. Day. Seen a number of his records go down here this season, too. And you added a guy like Parker Beaudry. He's top of the nation, a program record, 81 goals. What makes him so effective?
I think his experience. He's a little bit older than some of the other guys, which I think helps. He played Division II at a high level and wanted to finish out his career here, which is great. But he has a knack for getting to the cage. He's one of the best finishers I've seen, and he does a great job leading the guys and just being a great example out there, putting the ball in the back of the cage.
Got to be a nice, luxury to have. Okay, add a guy like Parker. You already have Max Esposito, and the list goes on and on. Caleb Ruger, so on and so forth. Where it's almost like if you're an opposing defense, pick your poison because you may be able to stop one, but you can't stop everybody.
Yeah, I mean those three all feed off each other, and we let them play. We put, like I said, Coach Day puts them in the spots where they need to be, and they push the tempo when they can, and it's worked out. So.
One thing I love about Max is confidence, and it's not an ego. It's he's got that quiet confidence, and then lets us play do the talking. He owns the program record now for points in a season, points in a career. When you've watched Max over the last 3+ seasons, how has his game grown?
He's one of the hardest working kids we've ever had, and I think he grinds all the time. I mean, he's a lacrosse rat. He's always in the gym. He's always in the catalyst. He's always getting improving his game where he can. So he's put in the work. I know Coach Day took him under his wing and really, when he played with him, helped him out. But, yeah, he's amazing out there. His confidence is outstanding. We want to get the ball in his stick as much as we can when he's out there.
A guy I don't think that gets a lot of credit or enough credit is a guy like Caleb Ruger, who maybe is in the shadows sometimes of some of those guys like a Parker, like a Max, like a Gio Nolatarski. But you look at Caleb, he can score in bunches, but he's also quite the facilitator. What have you seen from Caleb?
Yeah, he's been a lot more aggressive this year. He's always scanning the field. He's an amazing athlete. He was a great basketball player in high school. Really solid lacrosse player, obviously. But, yeah, he's always scanning the field. He can assist. He can score. He's really, really smart on the field and a super athlete. And, he's been outstanding this year. It's been great.
Of course, when we talk about this offense and getting the opportunity to take 50-plus shots a game, it starts on the face-off. And Jackson Hill, among the who's who when it comes to that face-off, how good has he been? And just, maintaining possession for the Falcons.
Jackson Hill's awesome. I mean, we love him. He's a great kid. The guys love him. His hands are super fast. He's really tough on the ground balls. And he's offensive-minded which is something we haven't really had at the face-off X. We've had guys that can win the ball and then kind of pass it off and get off the field. But, I mean, he's always looking to push. Again, Coach Day being an attackman, he's really, really taken the face-off unit under his wing and really improved them. But, yeah, Jackson's been great. I mean, he's been awesome on the field. He's winning the ground balls, getting the ball up to the offense, pushing transition when he can. I think he has like 30-some shots. So he's been doing a great job this year as a freshman.
It's been fun to watch, and again, you could see the Falcons in person coming up on Wednesday, and we could, go through the entire list because everybody has found a way to contribute in some way or another so far here in this regular season. But one other name I want to bring up is your freshman goalie, Travis Marquardt. How have you seen him develop throughout this first collegiate season?
Yeah, he's been awesome. I've coached him in club for a while, so I've known him for a while. He's very confident. He's very athletic. Kind of had to quiet him down in the beginning of the season with some of the outlets and things like that, but he's really improved and really kind of slowed down his game, which I think has helped opened up a lot in the clearing game and getting the ball up the field to our midfielders, our defensemen who can push the ball in transition. But he's a really confident kid. He's a very smart kid in the classroom and on the field, and he's just learning every day, which is awesome. We also have 3 other great goalies right behind him that are pushing him every day, and so it's a great goalie group that we have and a great defensive group that we have as well too. And
neat because in that matchup at Beloit, you got the opportunity to play all 4 of those goalies for a quarter apiece. You look at this team, and it seems like over the years, one of the strengths or a strength has always been the man-up opportunity. You guys have been able to take advantage. No different again here this season. One thing I want to ask you about, because you know this, I learned this a couple of matchups ago, is you can still score a man-up goal after the time has expired on a penalty.
Yeah. Yes.
and that's benefited the Falcons a couple of times.
Yes, until the guy gets in the play is apparently what the rule is. So if the guy releases from the midfield, they're coming out of the box. If we're technically still man up until that guy gets back in the play. So I think that's happened once or twice this year.
Yeah, Parker Beaudry has benefited the last couple of matchups in that regard. We mentioned Marquardt. He's coming off a 16-save performance, knocking off Illinois Tech 18-10 on Saturday. You look at that matchup, what was the difference the first time against the Scarlet Hawks?
I think it was 12-3 at halftime. So we pushed the tempo right away. We wanted to be physical. We wanted to get downhill on those guys and, put the ball in the back of the cage early and often. And I think that's something that we accomplished. I think coming out of halftime, we weren't as locked in as maybe we wanted to be. I know they scored a bunch of goals. So that's something we've been talking about yesterday and we'll talk about today. But we want to be aggressive, and I think that's hopefully can help us out tomorrow.
Yeah, jumped out to a 2-0 lead in the first 54 seconds on Saturday. Overall, when you look at match by match, and obviously there's maybe a couple of outliers, but have you been pleased with the quicker starts this team has had?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we play a lot better as a team. Our mindset's a lot better, especially when we get up early. And that's something that we have talked about throughout the year. So hopefully we can keep that up tomorrow.
Do you ever find it to be a challenge sometimes when you go up big to keep that foot on the gas?
Yes. Yes, at times it is. You got to keep everybody locked in, not only the guys on the field, but the guys that are on the bench. You got to play 60 minutes, and that's important. We talk about that a lot. And at times we've played close to full games, but I don't know if we've played 60 minutes yet this year. So that's something that we talk about, and we want to, hopefully we get to do tomorrow, and if we're lucky enough to do on Saturday.
It's a veteran team. I'm guessing you don't have to address the stay engaged, don't look ahead past tomorrow.
No, we're concentrating on tomorrow. That's our biggest focus right now. Nothing else really matters.
Second consecutive year where you guys have fallen into that hey, play Illinois Tech the last matchup of the regular season. It's a battle for the number 2 seed. Then a few days later, you get them in a NAC tournament semifinal. This time, it's both games are at Fitting Field. How challenging is it playing the same team in essentially a 3, 4, 5-day stretch?
Yeah, I think it's really difficult. And I don't really know how many times that actually happens. But it's tough. I think there's positives and negatives. I mean, we know what they're going to do, especially individually. They can change some things up, I'm sure. But we have a really good idea, and our guys have a good idea of what they're going to do. But it's also it's hard to beat somebody twice in a season, let alone in 1 week. So it is definitely going to be a challenge. They're very well coached. They have great athletes on their team. They're balanced. They have guys all over the field that can make plays. So we just, again, going back to 60 minutes, we got to be locked in and be ready to go.
Knowing in the back of your mind going into Saturday that they were going to, regardless of what happened, you're going to play Illinois Tech again. Does that change the game plan at all? Obviously, Saturday meant a lot, but does knowing that you're going to see them again, does that factor in at all in the planning?
No, not too much, I don't think. The same thing happened last year. We played down there, and then we had to play down there in the semifinals. So, no, it doesn't really affect the game plan. I think our guys are ready to go. They're locked in. They're excited to play at home. I don't think we've played a home playoff game since 2019, so, they're ready to go.
Generically, what do you want to see tomorrow? What needs to happen to win that matchup?
I would love for us to be athletic again and aggressive and hopefully get up to an early lead and maintain that lead. I would love to kind of limit some streaks from them on their offensive side. I think sliding, a little bit early, being ready to go defensively a little bit more. Maintaining the face-off wins would be awesome, and getting some good goalie play from Travis again would be awesome as well.
And the winner of that game will move on to the championship game on Saturday to take on either Aurora or Benedictine, the other semi taking place. To wrap things up, I want to get your thoughts quickly, going into the offseason, when you look ahead to 2025, the conference will look a little bit different. The NAC announcing that they've added some teams. Lawrence is going to be added. You have, Dubuque, Lake Forest. I'm missing somebody, Cornell as well. So it's going to be a different-looking conference. Mm-hmm. What do you make of the additions?
I think it's exciting. We haven't played Lake Forest yet, so it'll be good to get them in the conference. I think it makes it a lot more of a competitive conference, which is great. I haven't really thought too much about it yet.
Sure.
We're concentrating on right now, but it'll be exciting and a lot more conference teams, so a little bit more of a limited non-conference schedule. But
I was going to say, I'm guessing it changes that non-conference mindset a little bit, how you go about approaching that.
Yeah, for sure. And I know we're going to have to change up our schedule because we already have it complete for next year.
But as you mentioned right now, the focus here and now, want to see you at Fitting Field on Wednesday at 4 o'clock for that NAC tournament semifinal. Falcons and Illinois Tech. Coach, all the best. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
That's Mike Fahey, the head coach for Falcon men's lacrosse. A quick note that we'll be back with you next Tuesday, subject to change. Our focus will be softball. We'll be joined by the Director of Athletics, Rob Barnhill, as well. So join us next Tuesday for Falcon Focus. Thanks for joining us this week. It's been Falcon Focus presented by Orthopedic Hospital, Wisconsin.